Let's talk about something you see in pretty much every garden: mulch. Right? It's everywhere. We all use it. But what if I told you that this simple ground cover could actually be the reason your plants aren't thriving? It's true, so let's get into it.
It sounds totally crazy, but mulch can be both the absolute best thing for your garden and the absolute worst. And the difference between the two? It's all about how you use it. When you get it right, you get this gorgeous, healthy, low-maintenance garden. But if you get it wrong, well, you could be slowly harming your favorite plants without even realizing it.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at all the amazing things mulch does for your plants. Then, we're going to dive into the dark side, the dangers of doing it wrong. After that, don't worry, we'll show you exactly how to do it the right way. And to wrap it all up, we'll help you pick the perfect type of mulch for your garden.
Okay, let's start with all the good stuff, because when you use it correctly, mulch is an absolute powerhouse. Seriously, it creates this perfect, stable, and healthy little world for your plants to just flourish.
You know, probably the #1 reason people lay down mulch is to fight weeds. We all hate weeding, right? But how does a layer of wood chips actually stop them? What's the secret sauce here?
It's actually super simple and kind of brilliant. Mulch is basically a physical barrier that blocks sunlight. You see, most of those annoying weed seeds, they need light to get the signal to start growing. So by spreading a few inches of mulch, you're pretty much pulling a blackout curtain over them. No sun, no energy, no weeds. That's it.
Oh, but that's not all it does, not by a long shot. A good layer of mulch is like a sponge. It holds on to moisture so your soil doesn't dry out so fast. It also acts like insulation, protecting your plant's roots from scorching summer heat and winter freezes. Plus, it stops soil from washing away, improves the soil as it breaks down, and this is a big one. It creates a little safety buffer around your trees so you don't accidentally damage them with the lawnmower.
Okay, but here's where the story takes a little bit of a dark turn, because you really can't have too much of a good thing. Over-mulching is without a doubt one of the most common gardening mistakes out there, and it can be devastating for your plants.
And that brings us to the main villain of our story, the mulch volcano. I bet you've seen these. You drive around town and you see these huge cone-shaped mounds of mulch piled right up against the base of a tree. It might look tidy to some people, but it is literally choking the life out of that tree.
Just look at this. The difference is so clear. On the left, we have the donut. See how the mulch is spread out wide with a nice, clear space around the trunk. That's what you want. And on the right, you have that deadly volcano smothering the base of the tree. This right here, this one image, is probably the most important thing to remember about mulching.
So why is the volcano so bad? Well, for starters, it traps moisture right up against the bark. And tree bark is not supposed to stay wet all the time. That leads to rot and disease. That damp, cozy environment is also a perfect invitation for pests like mice and insects to move in and start chewing on the trunk. It also buries the root flare, that critical spot where the trunk widens into roots. And it can even fool the tree into growing its roots up into the mulch instead of down into the soil where they're super vulnerable.
All right, enough with the doom and gloom. Let's talk about how to be the hero your garden deserves. Mulching the right way is actually really simple once you know a couple of key rules.
Okay, the first golden rule is about depth. You want your mulch layer to be about 2 to 4 inches deep. If it's any less than that, you're not really going to stop weeds or hold in moisture. But if you go much deeper, you can actually suffocate the soil, blocking water and air from getting to the roots. And remember, that's 2 to 4 inches total, including whatever is left from last year. And I'm going to say this again because it is just so important. Always pull mulch away from the stems of your flowers and the trunks of your trees and shrubs. Just think donut, not volcano. Creating that little bit of space, that donut hole, lets everything breathe and stay dry, and it prevents so many problems down the line.
Now, for big mature trees, you want to be even more generous with that space. The rule of thumb is to keep a mulch-free circle of about 8 to 12 inches all the way around the trunk. This makes absolutely sure that the entire root flare is open to the air, which is just critical for a tree's long-term health.
So let's just put it all together into a few easy steps. First, you're going to want to weed the area really well. Then, apply that 2 to 4 inch layer of mulch. Next, and this is the crucial part, pull the mulch away from the base of all your plants. And finally, for trees, try to spread that mulch out as wide as you can, ideally all the way out to the edge of its branches. The wider the better.
Okay, so now that you know how to mulch like a pro, let's talk real quick about what kind of mulch to use.
Believe it or not, the type you choose really does make a difference. So things like wood chips or bark are amazing for around trees and shrubs because they last a long time and they're great at stopping weeds. If you've got lots of leaves in the fall, shredding them up makes a fantastic free mulch that adds tons of nutrients to the soil. And for your vegetable gardens or flower beds, you can't beat compost. It feeds your plants as it breaks down, which is just what they want.
And here is my final pro tip for you. You don't always need to add a whole new layer of mulch every single spring. Before you do, just go out there and check how deep the old stuff is. If you still have a couple of inches, all you need to do is take a rake and fluff it up a bit. It'll look fresh, and you'll save yourself some money and avoid the risk of over-mulching.
So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're outside in your garden, go take a really close look at your mulch. Now that you know the difference between the donut and the volcano, is your mulch helping your plants or could it be hurting them?